Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Yes, it is that time of the year where so many of us are thinking about cold and flu season. Just the one thing that resonates in most of our minds is I don't want to get sick, especially COVID, but I don't want to get sick. We're going to talk about your immune system, how to support it, what you can do to really hopefully prevent getting sick during the cold and flu season. And she knows all about it. Holly's Holistic Health.net is her website, and she's the owner of Holly's Holistic Health, and she's back with us. Holly, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. Why don't we get right back to the basics? Our immune system, we have an idea of what it is and kind of what it does, but with you, somebody that has a medical background, let's break it down and what exactly does it do?
Well, first of all, let's talk about what immunity is. It's a condition of being able to resist a particular disease, especially through preventing development of a pathogenic microorganism or by counteracting the effects of its products. So that's a Merriam-Webster dictionary definition. What it does is it protects your bodies from diseases and infections. That's the easy thing. It's the bodily immune system that produces the immune response to defend your body from foreign substances, cells, and tissues. So the immune system includes various parts of your body, including the thymus, the spleen, lymph nodes, macrophages, lymphocytes, and antibodies. And we talked about this before, your GI tract, which is approximately 25 feet long, and it's responsible for digesting and absorbing the nutrients, but it also is a big part of your immune system. And most people don't realize that if you don't have a healthy gut, you're not going to have a healthy body.
Never realized that. Had no idea.
Yeah. So there's many things that can cause.
And the 25 feet.
Yeah. I was at an accident one time and somebody actually, they got disemboweled, and it was quite a feat trying to get all that back where it belonged.
We'll leave it at that. She in
Yeah.
her life was an EMT. We'll move.
Yeah.
on.
Sorry about that. That was a little graphic.
But you know what? That says it all right there. Yeah, totally understood.
Yeah, so there's a lot in there, and a lot of nutrient absorption takes place in there. And if it doesn't have the right microbiome in there, it's not going to absorb all the nutrients that you need. So there's lots of things that can cause low immunity. Are you ready for a list? Because it's quite extensive, and some of the things you might not think about. So some of it's food related or environment related, but some of it's not. So things like toxins in our food and air and water, those are a given. I mean, some of those we have control over, some of them we don't. Drugs, alcohol, and medications.
Wow.
You need to be one of those ones that reads the insert that comes with your medication, because that tells a lot right there. Stress, pollution, pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, smoking, sleep issues, antibiotics, surgery, poor diet, food allergies, lack of sun exposure. Sun exposure is really important. Most people don't get enough sun exposure. That's where you get your vitamin D. And it's always better to get the natural source of vitamin D rather than, a supplement. Excess sugar, excess caffeine, heavy metal exposure, GMO foods. And then these aren't necessarily food related, but they play a big role in how your immune system responds to different things. Stress eating, self-hate, self-judgment, relationship changes, money concerns, marriage, divorce, death of a loved one, abuse, moving, job change, vaccinations, and any experience of being betrayed or abandoned. So, and that doesn't cover everything. That's just the short list. But there's so many things out there that can affect your immune system. So you need to do everything you can to build it up.
A lot of that, those last, call them 5 or 7, it seems like they go back right to stress. All of those seem like stressful situations.
Yeah.
Loss of a loved one, divorce, things like that. A lot of stress involved there. And I would think, in my mind, your immune system is like your army attacking any infiltrators that come into your body.
Yep.
We're there to, take them down. Did you say sleep? Because I don't remember hearing it.
Yeah. Yep. Sleep is one of them. If you don't get proper rest, you're not going to be good for the day. let alone long term.
That's my big one, stress and sleep. And
Mhm.
I always know when I'm starting to feel like something coming on, it's like, you didn't get enough sleep.
Right.
Then I
Yeah.
just I try to kick it in and sleep a little bit more. And usually I'll fight it off. But for me, and everybody's different, but sleep is a big one.
Yeah, it's important. Um, Mark David, the guy who founded the Eating Psychology Institute, he says low immunity is your body trying to get your attention. It's calling you to listen and to act and to fortify.
Yep. There you go.
So you got to, when you start feeling bad, you need to listen, because if you don't, your body's going to take you down. It's going to make you pay.
Yeah. And you're going to get sick or even worse than that.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some of the things now you're an eating psychology coach and you're also a doTERRA wellness advocate. What are some of the things that we can do to make sure that our immune system is on point?
Well, let's start with the things that aren't essential oil related, then we'll go into those a little bit. So
Sure.
the first thing is eat right. So that's foundational for anything. So if you don't give your body the nutrients it needs, it's not going to be able to do what it needs to do. So that's the bottom. Let's think of this as like a pyramid. So you're going to start at the bottom and you're going to eat right. And then you're going to have exercise on top of that. And why is it so important? It's critical to lifelong quality health and wellness as you age. And it's best to get at least 30 minutes a day if you can. And it doesn't have to be all at one time. It can be broken up throughout the day. And then rest, like we talked about, rest is really important. You want to make sure that you get at least 7 to 8 hours. Some people require more. You need to figure out what your body needs are. I can get by on 7 or 8. My husband, he sleeps for 10 or 12. That's him. You know, everybody's different. We all have the same parts, but we all function differently.
Yep.
So you need to make sure you listen to your body and get the amount of rest that you need. And that includes like having a set time to get up and go to bed every day. Because if you don't, your body never gets into what's called a circadian rhythm. So you want to make sure you have some type of rhythm to your sleep cycle.
You know, let's just stop at that point because I tell so many people the same exact thing because I've spent decades with crazy sleep schedules, going to bed at 9 o'clock at night, up at 3 o'clock in the morning, taking a nap in the middle of the day, but they would always be around the same time, give or take like 20 minutes. And that's how I'd be able to sleep. If you don't get on that rhythm, that regular schedule, it's not going to be easy. You're going to be lacking sleep. And I recently read something that said if you're not sleeping around 1 a.m., that's like the sweet spot where you need to be, that rhythm and everything else within your body in terms of its clock. You're missing out. You've
Mm-hmm.
got a big problem if you're not sleeping at that time.
Right. And those who work shift work, I mean, because my husband's a truck driver, so he's usually awake at that time. He drives at night. So he is all discombobulated
Right.
because his body doesn't know which end is up.
Yep.
And I feel for those who do shift work because I used to do that too. When I worked in the cath lab at the hospital, I was up whenever they called me, I had to go.
Yeah.
So it can really mess with you. So you need to try the best you can to stay on a regular sleep schedule.
Absolutely.
And along with rest comes stress. So learning how to manage stress is a big thing. And there's some things you just can't avoid. Like if a loved one dies, you can't control that, but you can control how you respond to that and how much you support your body, because you know your body's going to take a hit because you're grieving. But at the same time, you can rest more. You can make sure you're eating properly. You know, there's things you can do to support your body in that. You can't change the situation, but you can, change how you respond to it. And then the next one is reduce toxic load. So a toxin is any substance that places undue stress on the body and the vital organs. So one way to reduce toxins is to pay attention to what you're putting in your body and on your body. So we breathe every day. We can't control, the air around us a whole lot. Sometimes we can. If we're in our house, we can. But, you can control what you put on your body, what you put in your body. And many people don't realize how many toxins are in like the everyday products that they use, like their cleaning products, their hair, skincare, body care, all those things. And their water even. if you have city water, more than likely it's chlorinated and maybe fluorinated. Chlorine and fluorine are not good for you. I mean, your dentist will tell you otherwise, but or fluoride, that is not good for you. It builds up a toxic load in your body and it can be detrimental to you. So you need to pay attention to those types of things. And if you have well water, you need to get it tested to make sure, or use a water purifier or something to make sure your water is clean.
So that's interesting because, like you said, we've always been led to believe that fluoride is a good thing. Fluoride toothpaste, maybe it's in the amount that you consume or the amount that you're connected to. I mean, you're not consuming toothpaste, so to speak, but I wonder, why is it still in there? And
Yeah, the toothpaste I use doesn't have it in it.
okay.
doTERRA has their own toothpaste, and even before doTERRA, I found one that didn't have it. I used I think it was Tom's or somebody's that didn't have fluoride, because fluoride's not good.
Wow. Yeah. But you know what? Since I was a kid, and a lot of us led to believe, yeah, fluoride. Yeah, definitely went fluoride. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Then the next level is informed self-care. So it's important to take responsibility for your health because nobody else is going to do it, and to understand the issues that may require the immediate attention of a medical professional. So you don't have to be a doctor or a nurse to figure out whether you need to go to the doctor. Certain things you can take care of at home, and the better you take care of your health, the fewer things you have to take care of at home. You may have to take care of like emergency things, like I cut my finger, I need stitches, or I need something done with it. But to help prevent things like over sun exposure, nutrient deficient type things, it's better to pay attention to your diet and and the things that you use, like the hair care, skin care, body care, because that's all going to accumulate in your body over time, and it can cause you to have lots of issues going on.
Mm.
And then the last one, what's that?
We don't realize these things. We just assume you buy a product, it's on the shelf, it's been approved by the FDA because it's on the shelf, and it should be okay, reasonably okay.
But if you look at how many lawsuits are out there now, when they said, oh, this is safe, makes me really question how safe things really are. And medications are so overprescribed now, it's unreal.
True.
And when I worked on the ambulance, I used to have patients that I would pick up that had grocery bags full of medications because they started out with one, and I had a side effect from this. So rather than taking them off that med and trying something else, they gave them something for the side effect. Then that had side effects, and it just kind of snowballed out of hand until you get all these different drugs, and the patients just take it. And I'm like, to me, it's your body. You get to decide what goes in it. Right. And if you don't like the doctor you're with, go see somebody else. If you don't like what they say, get a second opinion. I'm all about taking control of your health because it's my body. I'm going to control what goes in my body.
I've said this before. My friend is an EMT, and like you have that knowledge of medication. Now, of course, your doctor should be up to speed on everything, but your doctor is seeing so many people and prescribing, and it's probably off their radar in terms of how much meds you're taking. But there you have it. You pick up somebody for a medical issue in an ambulance and you see it, the bag is there, and you, being connected to the medical world, can even go through those meds and say, all right, this does that, this does that. You know what you're doing is what I'm saying. You might not be a doctor, but you're plugged into what's happening. And there's a real view. We lose track. The doctor said, I need to take this, I need to take that. You usually don't question the doctor.
Yeah, and you also need to make sure you have one doctor who kind of coordinates everything, because like I have a friend who she's had like her list of medical problems is like huge. So she has one person who coordinates all of her different doctors that she sees, because if you don't, they'll say this doctor will take her off of one medicine and put her on something else that the other doctor doesn't want her on or whatever. So they all need to collaborate. You want somebody the doctors that are going to talk to each other, especially if you have multiple issues going on, and just know that you have the right to say, no, I don't want to do that.
Absolutely.
Or no, I'm not going to do that. And
Well,
the other thing is making sure that you do have a relationship with a trusted medical professional, because if you don't trust them, don't deal with them. I had my grandmother is a good example of that. She was dealing with a cardiologist. She says, Holly, I don't like him. He won't look me in the eye. He won't, every time I ask him something, he looks somewhere else, and he won't look at me because I don't trust people who don't look me in the eye. I said, don't go to him. She's like, oh, I can do that. I'm like, yeah,
wow.
yeah, you're the patient. You get to choose who you see. And if that's who you want to see every time you go to the office, you tell them that's who you want to see.
100%. We put doctors on a pedestal. There are many great ones out there. Absolutely. But
Mhm.
yes, to your point, you don't have, and you know what? You go with your gut. Your grandmother probably felt, is he being legit? Does he really believe in what he's doing? So he's saying, yeah, take this prescription, but not looking you in the eye. Maybe he doesn't really fully believe what he's prescribing. He's just kind of phoning it in, getting it done.
Well, that plus you have those doctors out there who are just in it for the money. And it turns out, long story short, this guy ended up in jail because of some of the stuff that he did. But not to her, but
Yeah.
I mean, you just have to realize that not every doctor has your best interest at heart. Some of them are in it for the money. Some of them really care. I'm not saying doctors don't care, but
Right.
you have to make sure you pick the ones that you feel comfortable with and that are looking out for your best interest, not theirs.
Your grandmother had a gut feeling, and there it is.
Yep.
Right. She was right. Yeah. And then you also, final thought here. And there's always been that perception, we'll call it that doctors are compensated when they prescribe certain meds.
They are.
And we move on.
I can attest to that. And I can tell you that certain things are promoted by the people that they work with, because the sales reps come into the medical establishments and talk to the people who actually are in the rooms with the doctors.
Yep.
And they help to promote it.
Yep.
And not just medications, but like the different products that they use.
And let me tell you, a lot of the drug reps that come in, they'll take you out to lunch, and that's going to be the best lunch you've had in a long time. And that trickles down to even people that do billing in the office, because they want everybody on board and happy, to be a part of that medication.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll leave that alone, because I don't want to get in any trouble with talking about all that.
We're just we're theorizing. That's what we're doing. Yeah.
Yeah. So there are a lot of things that can help your immune system other than those that we talked about. Like I'm right now, I'm dealing with a kid who has a snotty nose and a cough and all that. So I am upping my immune system game because I don't want to get sick. And some of the products that we have, one of the big things is our On Guard line. We have throat drops and hand wash and all different kinds of things. And it's also an essential oil, so you can like put some under your tongue or put it in a veggie capsule and take it internally. You can also diffuse it. So if you have anybody sick in your home, you're going to want to get a diffuser, because it can get rid of all the stuff floating in the air.
Wow.
Like my husband had the flu, or at least we think it was the flu. He didn't actually go to the doctor because he didn't feel bad enough to go, but we're pretty sure it was the flu. And I just diffused some oils. So I didn't get sick, which is pretty good for me because I've had pneumonia twice. And whenever he gets sick, I usually get sick following him.
Right.
So, and all I did was diffuse some oils. I didn't even take anything internally. I gave him plenty to take.
So
but I didn't take any.
Since we have some time here, can we look at that in terms of that situation and diffusing? How often are you running the diffuser, and what oils did you put in there to pretty much prevent you from getting sick?
The one that I've diffused this time, I used On Guard, and one called Breathe. Breathe is you say it does what it says. It's a respiratory oil, so it helps to open up your airways and helps you to breathe easier. And On Guard just helps to support your immune system. And I tried to run it all the time. And you say I didn't run it all the time because it went off after about 10 hours. So if I was in bed, it wasn't running. But whenever I could, I put more water in it and had it going as much as I could.
Wow. So you're saying it's okay to run it 24/7 when you're in a situation that you just want to be careful you don't get sick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially if you have like guests come over and you don't want them to tell them to go home because they're sick.
Yeah. Okay.
You can diffuse something, and you can actually, it's kind of fun because you can affect people's moods pretty easily with essential oils. And you can diffuse, like if they come in a bad mood, you can diffuse some oils that'll make them happy. And it's surprising how quickly they can change their attitude.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Wow.
When I used to teach, I diffused an oil in my office all the time. I had a diffuser plugged right into my what do you call that thing? Hard drive, I guess.
USB port.
Yeah. And so it came on every time I turned my computer on.
Uh,
And it was always diffusing a blend called Citrus Bliss, which is like my all-time favorite oil. And sometimes kids would come in because they weren't happy with their grade or, what we were doing or whatever, but they always left happy and they couldn't figure out why.
I totally believe it, and
It's kind of funny.
I'm ready to log on and get that stuff because I'll be honest with you, my daughter likes the oils from Bed Bath and Beyond. Yeah, not even close to what we're talking about here, but and you buy a little thing that heats it up. I guess you call it a diffuser of sorts. It's not like misting the air, but it's just a fragrance. But to your point, and we were going to go tonight to pick up some more because we ran out. It's when you walk into a room that has a certain pleasant smell, you feel better. There's just a different vibe that comes on. So,
Yep.
I'm talking like basic level here. If we take it up to the doTERRA level where, it's legit real oil and a real diffuser, what a difference that must make.
Yeah. And just as far as toxins go, think about this. The Bed Bath and Beyond oils.
Here we go.
I can almost guarantee you they're not pure.
Oh, they're not. No,
and what you're putting in the air is getting in your body.
Yeah, you're right.
I'll be happy to help you.
You're 100% right. And, you get what you pay for. So, that one little bottle that you screw onto I don't know if it's an actual diffuser, but the thing that just heats up to send the fragrance out. You pay, $6 for that one bottle. Maybe they have some specials going on or whatever, but yeah, you're getting mass produced. It's not good stuff. It just smells okay. So if you're going to do that, you might as well take it to another level. So, okay. Citrus Bliss. That was the one you talked about. What are they, what's a typical charge fee for one of those?
To be honest, I don't know right offhand what it is. I would say it's like probably between $20 and $30.
And it probably lasts longer because I was actually shocked how fast these things dissipated in the little bottles.
Well, there's 250 drops in there. So depending on how many you put in the diffuser, it can last quite a while.
It can last.
And how often you use it. I mean, everything's dependent on how often you use it and what you use it for and those kinds of things. But, it's, and how much they cost varies widely with, how they're sourced, how long, how difficult it is to source them and all those kinds of things. Cause, some of the oils we have are pricey, like rose oil. It takes like a basket of petals to make one drop. So, if you look at the amount of plant material they need and different things, prices can vary greatly, but you're going to get what it says it is because all the testing is online.
You control it. So if we compare what I was referring to, you just screw the thing in and it sends a fragrance out. That's it. When you talk about true diffusers, you just said you could put, 1 drop, 3 drops in. You're controlling what's actually happening. So if you don't want a strong smell, you can kick back on it. It would obviously last longer. So there's another bonus right there. Interesting. All right.
Yeah. So something else that can help you is breathe. We have a whole breathe line. And we have it's kind of like a Vicks salve. It's a thing you can rub on your chest that's made with our breathe oil. That's great for kids, especially because it doesn't irritate their skin and it's on them so they can get the benefits of it. Frankincense, huge oil. Like if you have anything wrong, that's where you go. If you don't know what to use, you use frankincense because it has so many different properties.
And I've heard that one so often. It's almost like the top 5 that you should be using.
Yeah. I mean, it was good for the baby Jesus. Just saying.
Okay, point taken. We're just about out of time. So if somebody wants to learn more about their immune system, they can reach out to you if they want to, talk about even some of these essential oils from doTERRA. You have a link on your website, right?
Yes. And my web address is www.holliesholistichealth.net. You can give me a call at 410-430-6791, or you can shoot me an email at holliesHolistichealth.net.
Awesome. Yeah. You just convinced me. And I have a diffuser in my office, one office over. I wonder if it's even, quality. It's probably, if you're going to invest in it, probably get a good one, better one, right?
Yeah, we have diffusers too. So
yeah. All right, going to the website, got to check it out. And like, where you had me when you said the toxins that are coming out of the stuff from insert name of store. It's like, I never thought of that. It smells nice, so the perception is, it's good for you. It's okay, but yeah, not really, and not so much. All right, Holly, thanks for being here today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.